Have you been wondering who the marriage candidates are in Harvestella? If so, then today's video is made specifically for you. Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to do two things. The first thing I'm going to do is introduce the different marriage candidates in Harvestella, and then in part 2, I'm going to tell you how you go about marrying them. Part 1, I'm going to keep it spoiler-free, and then part 2, it's going to be mostly spoiler-free, but I'm going to tell you how to do the different things, so it's going to be mild spoilers. Side note, before you leave any comments, I know technically it's not getting married, but it's essentially getting married because you give them a ring and then they come to live with you, but we'll talk more about that at the end. Your first choice is ARIA. She is a mysterious girl who claims to have come from the future and is researching the mysteries of Quietus, the season of death. Initially, I liked ARIA, but as you play the game, she does a few things that I really don't like. So for me personally, I wouldn't consider marrying her. Next up, we have DIANTHUS, and she's kind of difficult to talk about without getting into spoilers as well, but she is an omen, which if you play the game, you'll find out more about that race. With her, I actually quite like her personality, and to me, she's a strong contender for the person that I would want to marry. Next up, we have Assel, and he is a descendant of the Wind Readers, and he serves as a member of the Argus Brigade. For me, he's a little bit on the boring side. I do kind of like his character design, but personality-wise, he's kind of boring, so I wouldn't choose him. Next up, we have Estina, and she is a teacher at the orphanage in Nemea Town. She is another one of my favorites. I really like her character design. I love her backstory. I really like her. Next up, we have Hein, who is a flirtatious mechanic, and he likes to create things in his spare time. The first scene that you have with him is really weird, so I didn't like him initially, but he did kind of grow on me as time went on. Emo is another character that you can marry, and she is a songstress at a tavern in the seaside town of Chatola. And I have to say that she is another one of my favorites. I quite like her quite a bit. Next up, we have SHRIKA, and she is a missionary of the Seaslight Order in search of a new faith. I like her character, I like her storyline, and she has a really cool class. The last party member that you can choose to marry is Braka, and he is a young man who encounters the protagonist during the investigation of the Winter Seaslight. Braka is another one that I like quite a bit. His background story and everything is really cool, and his look is also really cool. Those 8 characters, you can choose to marry any of them, and there's also 3 other characters that you can choose to marry. The first one is Cress, and she is a physician who helps the protagonist after finding them collapsed. I like Cress, but I probably don't like her as much as I like most of the other party members. She does have a good storyline, but it's not like slap you in the face good. Next up, we have a unicorn. He is a magical horse-like creature with a beautiful white hair and a prominent spiral horn rising from his forehead. A lot of people do not like the unicorn, but I actually quite like him, especially when you get towards the end of the game and you can see his heart scenes, or whatever you want to call them, like the closeness scenes. I really like his backstory, so yeah, I'm interested to hear what you guys also think about Unicorn if you guys have been playing the game. Am I the only one who's a fan of him? The last character that you can marry is the mayor, and he is an old man serving as community leader in Leith Village, and he lives in a house at the top of the hill. The mayor does not have as many scenes as the rest of the other characters do, and he's kind of like a bonus character. That being said, the side quest that he has, it's a really good one about being a pen pal. That's a really good side quest. I really enjoyed that story. Him as a character, I wish we'd had more background scenes with him, but yeah, and he's a little bit on the old side, so it's kind of weird if you invite him to come live with you, but you know, I mean, I guess it's also weird if you invite the unicorn to come live with you. Here is the list of all the characters that you can choose to come live with you. So, how do you get married in this game? Well, first, you're going to have to complete all 10 chapters. As you're playing this game, you might get to a certain point and think, oh, I'm near the end. No, this game kind of tricks you into thinking the end is coming very soon quite a few times, but there's actually 10 chapters. Then, once you complete all 10 chapters, the mayor will come to your home and he will tell you about this promise ring. And this ring, you can craft it with a few materials. Then, after you craft it, this fairy will come on your farm and then ask you who you want to marry. And they're very clear that once you choose that person, you cannot change it. For everyone except for the mayor, you just have to watch their 10 scenes, and then you can give them the promise ring. There'll be a cutscene, and then they'll come and live with you. If you want to marry the mayor, what you have to do is get everyone to 10 hearts, or 10 diamonds. I don't know what you want to say. But you have to watch all of the supporting scenes, and then the mayor will be able to be chosen as the marriage candidate. Then there's a special cutscene where you give them the ring, and then they say they're going to come and live with you, and then from then on, they're going to stay with you on the farm.
Be careful out there.
So if you have any more questions, you can ask me down below. I've spent a lot of time playing Harvestella these past few weeks, as most of my fans know. I actually just came back to it because I took a break playing Pokemon Violet, but there were still some endgame things that I wanted to do in Harvestella, so I ended up coming back to Harvestella, and I love this game. Yeah, on this channel I've said it several times, and I'm going to say it one more time. I love Harvestella. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time.